Hello, 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 my friends. I'm AJ the Joy Weaver. I'm your host for today's Oh My Goodness podcast. Today, we are talking about words having power. I grew up hearing words have the power of life and death. I've heard mentors say words are spells. I've heard, the power of the tongue, like so many different things. And whatever you believe, we can all agree that the way we speak and what we speak and how we speak holds weight. It holds power. So we're going to talk about it, right? Because it's a new year. And for some of you, you are raring to go. You're like, 2026 is my year. Bring it on. Some of you are like, please don't say anything. Please don't touch anything. Just don't. Others are like, hey, this is my cozy time. And my new year really starts around Beltane, like in March or in May, or wherever you are. Hi, hello. You're exactly where you're supposed to be right now in your journey of being with yourself right now, right? So here we are. However, you're feeling about this new year, let's talk about the way we speak to ourselves and to other people. Okay. So a lot of times people have told me, that's nice that you're optimistic, but I can't, or I can't believe that, or, you know, you can say that because you're pretty, or because you just run high, or because you're the joy weaver, but like the world is hard out here. Let's get one thing straight. The world is hard. Nobody is not saying that. There are good things and there are bad things. There are bad things happening in the world right now. Okay. And I choose joy because if I don't, I am a resentful, bitter, angry human that I don't like existing as. Me choosing joy is partly yes, because I run high, but I run high, like all this energy. If I don't channel it, I get frenetic and wild and all over the place in a way that just feels like a hive of bees in my body. So there's a lot of like moving energy and channeling it and listening and staying in alignment so that you get the experience of who I am. So I get the experience of who I am at my core. Does that make sense? So I just want to like say it for the people in the back that are like, well, AJ, this is a practice. Okay. This is a practice. And I think I talked about it in my audiobook. I did like some asides to the reader. And I'm pretty sure I've talked about it here on the podcast a little bit about burnout and mental health crisis and so many things that happened in Korea and in San Antonio when all of that happened, about how hope felt unreachable and brutal and like there was nothing good in the world. And it was just so hard because I was helping other people, but also was struggling with my own, like, what is this? What's even the point? Right. And something I found in that is that when I was suffering and leaning into my suffering, because I was just like, this isn't going to get better. Nothing got better. Nothing. Like everything actually got worse. My life got worse. My marriage I just feel bad for my husband because that was, um, when I'm not me, I'm just empty. It's just weird. Um, and so he carried us for a hot minute while I was just like, I was going to my 12-step meetings and working out and eating and sleeping and crying a lot as I was trying to like get back as a human together, like figuring out how to recover from burnout. And the people I was learning from at the time was a lot of like gentle folks and also like Julia Cameron and um oh, I can't remember. She wrote Walking with Persephone, like Lucy Pierce, but mostly a lot of like sobriety people and like working the steps of what is a life, like a sober, vibrant, aligned life, and what does it take to get there. And I say all this as run up. Actually, I mean, it's all included, right? I don't need to preface because when we speak words, they're reflective of our inner beliefs, of our core beliefs. If you did the joy challenge, which it's still available in my Embodied Enjoy Facebook group. It's free, all that jazz. You can go check that out. We talked about your core belief. What is that? If your core belief is that you are not worthy of joy, what do we think? What do we think we're gonna interact with joy as? How do we think we're gonna welcome joy, right? We're not. We're not. It's gonna be like, I don't deserve this, or I'm not allowed this, or like, oh, I should feel bad for this, I should feel shame for this. Like, do you see how those words stem from that core belief? But if you have a core belief of our souls are good and spirit has our back, and here we are in reality, it's like, oh, what a gift that I have this joy right now. Let me take this in. This is fuel for moving forwards. There is hope in this world, right? Like, do you see how that is different? Not, I deserve joy and you don't, like, suck it. It's like, oh my goodness, I get to see this right now. There's a sunrise. Okay, there are these bad things happening and there's a sunrise. It's the both and of it, and it's growing that capacity for it. So when I was learning how to be human again, a lot of what I was learning was the language differences. And a big piece of that, man, we're going to get vulnerable today. I thought we were just going to talk about words have power, but here we go. In my old faith, I believed, and I've had discussions with people about this, that they don't think that's how I was taught, or they don't know where I got this from, but maybe you're like me and you had this of like, nothing about you is good. The only good thing about you is that God loves you and has chosen you, and everything else is not a mistake, but just bad. It's just bad. It's just you're naturally bad. Your soul is bad. Your desires are bad. Your flesh is bad. And the only good thing um, is that God loves you and you have been redeemed. And there's multiple issues I have with this looking back. Sorry. But there's a chapter, not a chapter. There's a verse that says that God gave you the desires of your heart. But then there's also another verse that's like the heart is wicked and deceived above all things. And that back and forth, I had panic attacks for years, not realizing that's what it was. Um, because I kept being like, am I good enough? Like, am I worthy of love? Am I doing enough? Or is God proud of me? Does God love me? Is God going to be like, oh my God, you suck. I hate you. Like all the time. Ask my husband. um, and it got worse after I was starting to question, deconstruct my faith, and people would be like, you're on a slippery slope. I'm like, yeah, but if God is God, then like God can handle my questions. Oh, it was just rough, guys. And but so much of my self-talk was reflected of that, of like, we gotta do better. I gotta do more. I gotta give more. I gotta be more. I gotta do enough so that my women will be okay, so that my business is okay, so people know they're loved because, but it was just this desperate striving. There was never enough. Never, never. Um, and the words I said to myself were just not encouraging. And once I started deconstructing my faith, I remember the first time, oh man, I should have wrote this down, but there was a book by Brian Zand, I think, and it was about the different types of theology and doctrines within. Oh, I can't remember what it's called, but in the Christian faith. And they were talking about the original blessing. How, what if Jesus died for everyone? And that was it. Like everybody's just good and saved and seen and loved. And then Quinn something, she talked about the original blessing, how we were made for the garden, like the original curse, the original sin, but original blessing, like further back, like we were originally made to be in community with God, with the divine, and walk in a forest and be in this world and thrive. And I was like, oh my, it was like it felt like I was coming out of water when they said that. Like I felt like cool water wash over me. I was like, that feels true. And I remember watching the Bible Project because I was seeking so hard to figure out how I could how I could stay. Um, and the Bible Project had this video of Holy Spirit, Ruach, this breath, right? And like, we say words are spells, words have power. Like in Christianity, God said, let there be light, and there was light. Let there be trees, like spoke life, and life was created. And there's this visual of God breathing these things into being, and it's like this gold sparkles that like go on the earth, and you can see Bible Project, Holy Spirit, I think is the video, and everything is spirit tinged, and that's how I see the world. Like you might know about the different clairs of like clair audio, clair smell. People just know things, people feel things. So I can feel in my body, I see, I hear, and then like I know. So like if we're in a session together and we've opened our communication ways or whatever, like I often feel things in my body. I'm like, hey, what's going on here? And they're like, oh, da da. Right. But that spirit tinge, that's how I see everything and people. Because it's like if everyone was stitched together in the world, everyone is spirit breathed, everyone is touched, everyone has this connection with higher power if they seek it. And the work I've done in the last 5 years, I've just amplified this knowing for me in my bones as I've seen atheists, pagans, Christians, everyone have access to spirit in a way that works for them if they are willing to reach and be open. Does that make sense? And and so I was like, if that's true, how am I speaking over myself if I am also spirit touched? And that's my talk. And when I started reframing of I am deeply loved by spirit, period, end of sentence, and my soul is good, period, end of sentence. Do I screw up? Do I sin? But yes, I screw up. But my soul inherently is good. When I started leaning into that, which was hella hard, by the way, um, when I started leaning into that, the way I saw myself as I screwed up was different. It became less, I am stupid and nobody loves me, and this is why I don't deserve anything. And but like y'all, when I tell you I would spiral, I had a soft, fluffy spot in the corner. Oh, oh, I had this like big dog bed in the corner of my room so that I could do my online stuff and write my book and do all the stuff and then go have like cry in the corner because I was just like, is this enough? Is it ever going to be enough? Like, oh, the spirals are so real, right? And mental health is so real and burnout is so real. And our world, like, who benefits from you saying bad things to yourself? I really want you to think about this because like I had to have somebody like shake me one time and just be like, AJ, who's benefiting from you believing this? And it's like in Burnout, Emily and Amelia Nagoski, they talk about the bikini industrial complex, right? Like they get so much money from you hating yourself and your body, right? The creams we buy, the lotion, the clothes, the things. And why can't we just measurements, just sizes, make shopping so much easier? I am an average, I'm actually smaller than average, I think, of American sizes. And it brain fucks with me with sizes changing all the time. And so, like, if you're in a bigger size body and if you're a woman of color, like, oh my God. And if you're a queer person, I'm just saying the fuckery is on purpose. You're not crazy. It's like planted that way so that we keep wanting more. We keep wanting more to consume, not wanting more of expansive. Does that make sense? Like there's a difference in energy of I need this to be okay. Because if I have these glasses or if I have this brand or if I have this house, then I'll be enough and I'll be loved and I'll be worthy versus like, I am worthy. I would like this house to exist and to be a sanctuary for people to come or for myself to exist in, whatever. I like these clothes because of the way they're soft and they feel and they drape so nicely. I feel beautiful. Like that dichotomy, right? So the more I switched my language, the more I realized what I was speaking over myself. And so we don't often realize until our attention's put on it. And so now after today, you're going to start noticing how often you hear people talk bad about themselves. And so in my red tents, I would say this for years of like, hey, we don't talk bad about ourselves in the red tent. We can be like, hey, I struggled with this or I made a mistake. But we don't do I am bad, right? Shame says I am bad. Guilt says I did something bad. Brene Brown teaches us this. So I had already started doing this work and was trying, but I was constantly like, am I good enough? Am I? And my husband's like, AJ, yes, it's fine. You're good. You're loved. Like, it's okay. But we've got to do this in our work, guys. The words that come out of our mouth are rooted here, but all of this is reprogrammable. And so often we think, this is just how I think. This is just how, and it's just this defeatist idea of, well, this is how I've always felt. So it's never going to get any better. But like, do you really want to be talking about yourself in the same way 10 years from now, 5 years from now? Like, oh, no, 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 no. This is why you're here, right? To like learn and relearn. This is why you're listening to this podcast. You wouldn't be listening to this podcast if you weren't like, there's no hope for me. So even if you're like, there's no hope for me, obviously there is if you're listening to this. There's a part of you that believes. So can we give that part a little bit of credit for being here in this moment to say, I want to be kinder to myself. And so often we think, well, then I can only speak good things. It's not the point. The point is speaking truer things, kinder things. Because people are like, oh, brutal honesty. I'm just brutal honest because, like, I don't have time for lying. And I cannot, I cannot. Brutal is an adjective. My friends, it's an adjective. You know what an adjective is? It's a descriptor word. You know what else is an adjective? Hold on. My dog was getting into some leftovers near me, so I went and grabbed that. But kind is also an adjective. Nourishing, clear, compassionate. These are also all adjectives, and clear, honesty, compassionate, honesty, kind, honesty. Do you see how honesty is the part about honesty? The brutality is just there for impact. And so when we can be like, oh, I can be kind and honest, it like takes it out. But it's like sometimes we like the pain because we feel like it's going to keep us in line, right? That shame, we use it as a teaching tool of like, this is how I get better. I got to go. I got to hustle. I got to. How's your nervous system feeling with that? Not great, I imagine. I took my part. I took my t-shirt of the hustle culture and I broke that button. Um, when we change our inherent beliefs. And so like my encouragement to you is what are your core beliefs about yourself? Because if they are, I'm bad and stupid, never do anything right, I want you to look directly at how that's impacting the words coming out of your mouth. And then what we're going to start doing is we're going to start slowly transforming your core beliefs. Because what a lot of people try to do, and we're going to talk about affirmations in a second here, is they start trying to say the opposite. Like I'm bad and I'm stupid and I'm broken. That's what I believed for years. And there are still days that it pops up and then I have a hard day and I'm like, okay, we do the next right thing. I'm learning, I'm growing, right? So instead of saying I'm broken and bad and stupid, of saying I'm smart and I'm healthy and I'm whole or whatever, I don't know. That's too much of a jump. When I'm in the thick of it, I cannot make that jump. And so often we people are like, I hate my body. I feel disgusting. They're like, I love my body. And they're like, it feels like a joke. It feels like a cosmic joke that you're just saying over yourself and you're making fun of yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, so Hillary Rushford Collier did this thing. She had this emotions chart. And it's like, what's one step up? What's one step up on the kindness? If you're hating yourself, can we be frustrated with ourselves? Can instead of I'm broken and bad, be like, I struggle with these things, or I am working on practicing being kinder to myself. I made a mistake instead of thinking, I am a mistake. I made a mistake. I'm working on being kinder and more aware of my surroundings or things. Like I know that's a little more drawn out, but do you see how putting in the I'm working on this, I'm practicing this. For a hot minute, I could not say I am willing to believe that my soul is good. I was like, ugh, like it was just it felt like it rejected it. But I could say, I am willing to practice believing that my soul is good. And it gave me enough of a buffer that I could have plausible deniability about this belief that I was practicing learning and taking in, because it feels like a shock to your system. And like, is it safe to believe that? Because then I'm going to be let down, because then I'm going to get evidence that it's not true. But here's the thing. We have all of this evidence from however we were raised, from society, from our patriarchal, like capitalistic white supremacist system, right? Remember, our waters are poisoned. We have lots of good things too. And I think we need these reminders that like the system is not set up equally for everyone. And not that that's like okay, but it's okay to understand that, because then you're here in reality and can make choices accordingly. If you do not acknowledge that this is real, you're going to be like, I don't know why I think women are just naturally stupid and bad friends and men should be in charge of everything. That's just how it should be. Is it? Or is that the programming we were taught, because actually, like, our country runs on women being at home and like credit cards were only given to women? Like, do you see the like connections? I don't actually care what you do with your life or how, whatever. But I just want you to be aware of the stories we tell ourselves are usually not our own. They're things we picked up. Your inner critic did not come out of the womb like ready to go with like, here's the list of all the things that's going to hurt her soul. No, we pick those up along the way from teachers, from people in power, from friends, from da and they like hit us in our core, right? We've got like some of these core wounds of things that people have said that like just like, oh, straight to the heart, right? So make your list, write it down. What are the things you say to yourself that people are like, no, you shouldn't say that about yourself? Like, what are you saying about yourself that you get called out on, or you feel more sad after you say out loud? Here's the other part of this. When you say the things out loud that are mean to yourself, because you're going to continue doing it because it's a habit and habits take time, and that's okay. Remember, we're not doing the same thing. What you're going to do is you're going to put in a comma instead of a period. So when you say, oh, I'm so stupid, I never do anything right, and you're going to be like, oh, I said that. Instead of being like, no, I'm not. You can say that, but you can say, comma, I made a stupid mistake. That's really frustrating. Here's what I'm going to do next. Or here's how I'm going to fix that. But do you see how you like put in a comma? So it's like your thought is continuing. And so it kind of like elevates the thought at the end of it, and instead of like totally negating it or doing the opposite. So it's just like another tool you can try. And so sometimes I'll be like, and then I'll say, oh, I don't know. And I'm like, that's not true. I literally just said my thoughts. And I'll be like, sorry, that's not true. I do know. That's what I said is what I think. But I'm still retraining myself because I automatically disclaim whatever I just said of, it doesn't really matter. I don't really know. There's a lot of times, something I'm working on right now is no pressure, don't worry about it. If I brought it up, there actually is some pressure. I would like for this to happen. If it doesn't happen, it's okay because they're making their own decisions, their own choices, whatever. But we can have that conversation. But if I brought it up, it actually does mean something to me. I don't say things casually. I'm not a casual person. I am not very subtle. So if I'm putting my time or my energy into something or someone or a conversation, it's because I want to be there. It's because I want to say that. Um, Not rarely, but I often don't say things I don't mean. I pretty much mean everything I say. I had a friend who kind of sparked this thought for this podcast yesterday, and we were talking about a recent LARP that we did. I'm going to grab water. Hold on. Oh, I love good water cups. And I had said something, and she's like, oh, if you said it was bad, she's like, I never hear you talk bad about anything. She's like, so if you say it was bad, it must have been like really bad. And I thought about that and I was like, yeah, because words have power, right? If I am having a bad day and I'm like, today sucks. I hate everything about today. It can go to hell. It can turn around. I don't like today. I don't like the way I feel in my body. The day just sucks. Everything sucks. Of course, this is how it always goes. How do you think the rest of my day is going to go? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. hmm I'll give you a guess. Terribly. Because I'm already like, this whole day sucks. This whole day is bad. Now, something I learned, I don't know, when did I start doing this? 2 years ago? I can't remember. But I started calling my bad days adventure days. And I was like, we're going on an adventure. And it has changed everything for me. I don't really have bad days anymore. I may have off days or days where things are hitting the fan, but I look for the adventure in them and I call it an adventure. And that way I know, hey, you know what? Frodo and Sam went on an adventure. Good things happen and bad things happen. Um, Narnia was a whole adventure. Good things happen, bad things happen. And so it leaves room for both. It leaves room for surprises. Who's going to come in at that last moment and save the day? Where's the like, oh my God, there's a Dairy Queen. I get a blizzard. Like the hot tub at the end of the day. Oh my gosh, my husband is home. I get to kiss him after like a big day. Like renaming my bad days into adventure days makes space for my system to be like, this is going to be a good story in a couple months. And also, because I look on the bright side, because I look on the optimism side of things. And I just had a chat with Cherry yesterday about this, and I'm so excited. We're going to record our podcast episode tomorrow, I think, or today. He's like, you don't say at least anymore because I used to be a silver lining at all costs kind of person. And then I got sober and got that all the emotions and the upgrade. And I was like, oh my God, this is terrible. And and he's right, I don't. But what I do is I more intentionally choose my words to not amplify the hard. I look for the things that are going to make it easier or kinder for me or the people inside of it. People who are suffering don't need to hear, at least it's not raining. They need to hear, that really sucks. That's really hard. Would you like a hug? Do you need a moment? How can I help? How can I be supportive? Right. And like, I don't get this right all the time. Very much not. Sitting with the heart is not my strong suit. It's just not. But it's something I'm cultivating, it's something I'm practicing. But I think that's also because when I was in the hard, just sitting in it made it harder. So the way I choose words now is potent because I'm choosing joy, which also makes permission for other people to say, oh, I also can have joy. It sets an example of the tone and energy I want to be around because that's important to me. I've lost more than a couple friendships because of energy and different things. Um, and that's hard. I have dropped the ball many of times, and that's hard. Um, and I now choose friendships where we are very open about our friendship. And we ask for what we need, we mean what we say, and like we're growing. Like I am in friendships with people who are working on being better, like feeling good in their bodies, of building lives they enjoy. Like even if we're in different stages of life or they're stay-at-home moms or working a 9 to 5, whatever, like the people I have around me now are people who are moving towards believing a better way of being, believing that spirit has their backs. Like it makes such an impact who we surround ourselves with and the words that we say with each other. And kind of looping back to what my friend said, people around me know as well that if I say, I don't like somebody, I don't like something, if something was hard or something was bad, that I mean it because I'm not someone who cries wolf. Maybe not anymore. I don't think I ever was. But well, I am an expensive storyteller. Let's say that. But I don't really lie. And if I complain about something, that means it was really not bad. Like I don't give below 3 ratings on Goodreads because I'm like, you get credit just for writing the book. So I try to speak good. And so I just want you to think about where are you on the positive, negative talk both out loud or to yourself? Like, what are you bringing to the table energetically around you? Are you speaking life to other people? Okay. Do you also speak life to yourself? If not, why? check out your core beliefs. And the last thing I kind of want to talk about is our affirmation situation. Now, some people are like, oh, affirmations are for those willy-nilly, like self-help, like growth people. But like, I want to keep growing. I There's so much to learn and grow from. There are people I'm like, whoa, how do you show up like that? How are you so bold? How are you so brave? And they're like, okay. And I'm like, okay, what is the belief I have that is keeping me from being that free, from being that aligned with spirit, from being that loving to people that I struggle with loving, right? Because I'm it's like if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. But also like speaking up, activism speaking, right? Like when do we speak? When do we not? When do we focus our words on where it can help? But I want to circle back to the affirmations real quick because I feel like activism is a whole other podcast episode. Florence Given, who I'm listening to her podcast and her book right now, and it's so good. It's so good. Go check out her book, Women Living Deliciously. I have no chill about her lately, and she teaches a lot of what I teach, which makes me very happy because we need more people teaching this work out in the world. Anyways, she was saying when you're saying an affirmation, sometimes it's hard when it's opposite, right? What I talked about earlier. But she was saying, like, say it in your tone. If you're not usually an affirmations person, how would you say it? If you're like, oh, of course this happened to me again, when you get a flat tire or when it rains or something like that. Say that when the sun comes out. Oh, of course the sun comes out the second I come outside. Ridiculous. Or like, oh, of course I look this fabulous in my clothes. How could I not? And so it's just when we say things in a way, it almost gets under the radar for our nervous system to take in without automatically rejecting, right? So if you're kind of more of a sarcastic person, or if you're kind of more of a negative Nancy on some things, look at how you can say positive things in a way that like is maybe even joking. One thing I read once, and it was like they were super clumsy, and they'd always be like, "Oh my God, I'm so stupid. I break everything. I'm so clumsy." And so now when they trip, they started saying, "I am the epitome of grace." And A, it just kind of slides in there. And B, it would make them laugh instead of degrading themselves and that shock value. Because then people also don't know how to react around you. They say, no, you're not. And you're like, yeah, I am. And then it's like you're beating up my friend. You're talking bad about my friend, and I'm trying to encourage you, and then you won't receive it. How do you think that makes me feel? Not to like turn it around that way, but like also turning it around that way, right? Like, what if you were your friend? Would you talk to your friend that way? Your best friend. Can you imagine talking to your best friend the same way you're talking to yourself most days? Probably not. Probably not. Probably not. And so those are just like a few different ideas. I got my affirmations from John Acuff. He has a book called Soundtracks, and it's really great. And it's about the way we think and the way we speak to ourselves. And I love it. I love it. And so I'm going to chop this up, but this is kind of how his goes. And I think I added in a few, but basically you look in the mirror. I usually do it in the car, and I play a song, and I play Pacific Coast Highway by something, Marcus Warner and somebody else. And it goes, um, today is a new day. I'm AJ, and I choose my thoughts. I know that doing my best starts with thinking my best, like laying a path for an adventure. These thoughts set the course for my actions. Discipline and dedicated to stick with it are 10 things I know to be true. Today is brand new, and tomorrow is too. I've got a gift worth giving. The only person staying in my way is me, and I quit doing that yesterday. The best response to obstacles is to do it anyways. Momentum is messy. Everything is always working out for me. When I help others win, I win too. I am the CEO of me, and I am the best boss. When I help others win, I win too. I think I already said that one. I say, spirit has my back. Joy is contagious, and my soul is rooted in the river beneath the river. And my soul is good, and my knowing is gold. And there are opportunities in abundance. Integrity lays the path. May clarity guide my steps. And may I trust in what is unfolding. May you keep me sane, sober, alive. May we show up to the best of our abilities today. It's going to be a great day. Let's rock and roll. And then it's like, I'm not leaving this car. I'm launching from it, ready for a day of untold opportunities. I packed integrity, joy, honesty, and hope for the day ahead. It's time to pack up, pack out, and roll out, or something like that. But so that's basically what I say every day in the car. And so I kind of mixed some of his, and so you can check it out, and I'll link him in the show notes. But like, what are yours? What are you saying over yourself? Do you see how a lot of the things I said aren't, I'm inherently worthy and good? Well, I did at the end. But a lot of his are like, hey, today is a new day. Momentum is messy. I can start anew at any given moment. Like there's just these little things that are like reframes. And then I say it. The more you say things, the more it gets into your brain and your body. Like who are you learning from? Who are you watching? What are you intaking into your brain? Because that's going to filter through into the words you say. Like Susie, my mentor, has this thing of like, oh, she says, "Oh, look at that new information," when things just hit the fan and you're like, "What the?" And she's like, "Oh, look at that new information." So now when I'm like, "What the, are you got?" And then I'm like, "Oh yeah. Oh, look at that new information." And so now sometimes I'll just say it when I'm completely shocked. I'm like, "Oh, look at that new information." Or if I'm like, "What am I supposed to do now?" I've started saying, "Well, I guess I don't have the information I need yet to make a decision. I'll know more when I need to know more." And it blows me away every time I think it because I'm like, who are you? Like, no, we need that information now. And I'm like, I guess not. If I haven't made a decision, I guess I don't have to make that decision right now. Because if I did, I would have made it. You know what I mean? And so there's just like these little belief shifts, these things. So who are you listening to? What are you taking in? Maybe you like to listen to like a Bible app every day, or maybe you like to listen to like Gabrielle Bernstein or Melanie Lair, different podcasts, but like your Instagram, your Facebook, like just look at it. What are you taking in? What are you speaking over yourself? What are you speaking out into the world? And then the last thing I'll leave you with is like, speak the goodness out loud. Speak the goodness out loud. We have so many people saying badness out loud. And like sometimes we got to call it out and be like, that was bad. That was not good. This is not good. That's not good. But like, let's also practice saying goodness out loud. Let's practice when we're like, oh my gosh, look at those clouds. Like yesterday, Susie and I went to the beach and the fog rolled in. And in the morning, we were watching the fog roll in. She's like, my friend in North Carolina calls it the clouds rolling in because they live in the mountains. So, oh, we're in the clouds today. And I love that. And so she's like, so I've been calling the fog when the fog rolls in, the clouds are coming in. So when we went to the beach, it was like super foggy, like you could not see the ocean. And I was like, oh, we're going to the beach in the clouds. And it just like elevated instead of this like foggy day where you can't see the ocean and it's just like really dense fog. It's hard to drive. And it's like, I am driving in the clouds to go to the beach in the clouds. Like it just elevates and adds this playful energy, right? Both things are true. Fog, clouds. Fog is just clouds on the ground. Maybe. I don't know. Some weather person is probably gonna be like, well, technically there's a difference. Technically, kind of, sort of, there's not. But you know what I mean. So try it out. Let me know how it goes. Sing your soul song, friends. Be kind and gentle to yourself. And this year, whether you're restarting, whether you're not, whether you're just like not touching anything, look at the way that your words are shaping your life, shaping your friendships, shaping the way you see yourself, because the limiting mindset versus growth mindset, not that we are getting to biohacking and like growth, hustle, all that jazz, but it really makes an impact. It's changed my life night and day to be like, okay, how can I be a little more kinder and gentle to myself? How can I lean into the goodness that is here? And the ripples are honestly immeasurable. I'm proud of you. Go eat some cake, eat your carrots, drink your water, brush your teeth, and have a great day, my friends. Bye.